You smell what the Rock is cooking.
Acknowledge me.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
We are bad to the bone. Get it? Bad to the bone.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'll fight anybody. Who do you want? Just let me fight him.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross.
Mega power, yeah.
We got it for you.
We are the best of the best.
Woo! Wheeling dealing.
Smart marks.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Talk 'em in the Building, a pro wrestling podcast where we talk about the promo. That's our main focus, is all about the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype men, and pontificate on the promo. So here I am from the ATL with my compadres, as Adelaide likes to always say, down the street, not that far away. Adrian, also here in the ATL, and then Adelaide all the way across in the City of Angels, Los Angeles. How's it going, bro?
What up? What up?
Living it, man. Loving it.
So before we jump into it, make sure you like, you follow, you subscribe, check the back catalog, hit us up on the socials, and let us know what you think. Definitely check the back catalog. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Almost 2 years, y'all. Almost 2 years. So it's a big milestone for us coming up. But today, we're going to talk about something that sometimes is near and dear to Adelaide's heart. He loves his lucha libre. He loves his masked wrestlers. I love masked wrestlers too, but I didn't grow up on lucha libre. So today we're going to talk about masked wrestlers. We're going to go through a little timeline of some masked wrestlers, but probably not the ones you're thinking about. You're not going to see Mr. Iguana. You're not going to see Ray. You're not going to see Phoenix or Penta or any of those other ones. You're going to see some guys from when I grew up and before I grew up, and some that I just found. I was like, what the world is this? But let's have some fun. I mean, before we jump too far into it, Adelaide, I got to come to you first. You're our resident, lucha libre expert. Favorite masked wrestler of all time, who is it?
Man, if we're talking historically, who has played, and now I'm going to put on my historian hat. Usually you're the historian, right? If I have to go by cultural significance of what they meant to the sport and really to a country, you're going to go Santo. You can't, I mean, you're going to talk Mysterio, and that's, recent, and because obviously he's the man and everybody else, but without Santo, you don't have anything, right? And having grown up, around it and being in Mexico, and you can go down a flea market, you can go down to, San Diego, and you go to Tijuana, and you're going to still see a Santo mask there, right? Mm-hmm. And this is decades. And because, we talk about these crossover stars and, and Becky Lynch is in and MJF or in an Adam Sandler movie. And this dude was starring in his own like monster flicks, Santo versus blank, and then dialed everybody else in, brought in a bunch of other people. So for an all-timer, it has to be Santo. For me, more modern, obviously, I'm still a Mysterio guy. So
good call.
Yeah.
All right. Adrian, same question. Your favorite mask guy? That's not Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, of course. It's got to be Tiger Mask, man. Tiger Mask is like a living superhero. And if you're going to say which iteration, it's got to be Tiger Mask too. That's my favorite, personal favorite wrestler. Always entertaining matches. Hell, he had an anime on different eras of an anime, an old school anime that I remember. I remember the intro and all that. And he had a newer school one where guys like Kenny Omega and Cody were in it, which was super cool. Like, being into New Japan Pro Wrestling and that. So I love Tiger Mask. I have a couple old school Tiger Mask manga. That's what you call it, right?
Wow.
I have a couple of those from Japan. So Tiger Mask, man. I love Tiger Mask. My second choice, El Generico. Always loved El Generico. I love the gimmick and the concept of this clearly this is, just say it is clearly this is a white guy, like using using the crappiest of Spanglish. And I just loved his character. I always love people's reactions to seeing him when I would show, because they're like, man, this is a really good wrestler. But then once they see the promos and all of that stuff, they're like, man, what the hell are you watching? Like, it was always that reaction. So El Generico has to be like, he's got to be top 5 for me, for the masked wrestlers.
For sure. That's cool. That's cool. I like how you threw him in there, because nowadays all we really think about is lucha libre, or these guys who are coming from that era, or that version, if you will, of pro wrestling. But I never grew up on that. I didn't know what that was. I knew who Mil Mascaras was, but even though being blessed to grow up here in the A-town and having 6 to 8 hours of wrestling every Saturday night, legit, we still didn't get lucha libre. We
Very
had
rarely.
all kinds of other stuff, right? But so we're gonna dive into the first one. This one's interesting to me because when I think masked wrestlers, this is what I go back to. Not necessarily lucha libre.
That it is a bounty.
Well, it seems like at the moment, everything surrounds one individual, Austin Idol, namely. Because of this man, another man is laid up. He's unable to take his place in the wrestling ring today. Number 2, the Watergate cover-up. And I hope you hear what I'm saying there, world champion Harley Race. The man you call yourself, as far as I'm concerned, you're far from being the man, because I'm twice the man you'll ever be. I, Mr. Wrestling 2, won the heavyweight title in the ring and lost it in the back rooms of the NWA.
Well, of course, tomorrow night at the Omni in Atlanta, you know that you're going against a man that is a bounty hunter, the man that there's $10,000 on your head.
I'm going against a man that tried just a moment ago to try and put me away. Well, Austin Idol, let me tell you something right now, pal. There is no way in hell you're going to put me away.
Mr. Wrestling number 2.
Legend.
Huge legend.
Yeah.
That was from Georgia Championship Wrestling before it became World Championship Wrestling. The legendary Gordon Solie, who we've talked about before, who, if you paid attention, Wrestling 2 won the world title and lost it in the back room under a dusty finish. So where all of a sudden there was some type of screw job. You know how Dusty used to always have those finishes that was all of a sudden get reversed. That happened. And then now he is going after Austin Idol. If you notice, Gordon, we talked about the Stickmen. He started going down this path of the NWA Championship. Gordon's like, you ain't going after that. You're going after Austin Idol. Let's bring you back to where you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Let's talk you into the building tomorrow night at the Omni. And so, but Idol Lead, I'm going to come to you first. Mr. Wrestling number 2. I don't know what you know about him or anything, but seeing that quick clip, what's your first impression?
A couple things come to mind, and I'll preface it with telling you, I just know that he kind of was in this twilight when WWF was coming into its stone, and I think he might have had a cup of coffee there towards the end. And I know that there's some picture that I think Jimmy Carter really liked them at some point. I think he was like a big Jimmy Carter guy. Jimmy Carter was a big Mr. Wrestling 2 guy. But just strictly focusing on the promo, it's one of the things that I noticed right away with mass luchadors, or just mass wrestlers, period, is you have to emote so much more than if you didn't have the mask. So him yelling, I'm almost not bothered by it, because he's trying to get this point across, right? He's trying to kind of show up, and, he's probably grimacing and doing a lot more under the mask. That is my kind of the biggest thing there, is you have to work with what you got. And you see that evolution now where maybe he was trying to work with it, and obviously he was successful, to a point. And now you see, like Adrian brought up a Generico, where there's a lot more movement. There's a lot more, you're playing up to the last row. And as a masked luchador, you have to have that body language. So I did appreciate that. And it was funny because we always hype up Gordon Solie because he kind of brings it back. He's always that good stick man and bring you back to the point. But I think it works. I think he did a nice job here with, you know, the limited time and the limited perspective we have for this, in, you know, getting me into at least care about, you know, whatever's happening here in this part of his career. But I'm curious to go back into what is, you know, is this a younger Mr. Wrestling too, or is this kind of like he's already pretty well into his career?
He's pretty well into it. So
Yeah.
if people aren't familiar, there was a wrestler number one, and
Yeah.
then there's wrestler number two. Wrestler number one had all white, and wrestler two had the black. And for whatever reason, they broke up, and one went on his own merry way, and two just stayed around and just kept the name two. And which was actually great because people used to chant two, 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 and he was huge down here,
Yeah,
like
he
huge.
was. Yep.
And to your point, President of the United States taking pictures with him, like while he was president, not while he was governor, but while he was president. Um, he was huge, but that knee lift. I'll tell you some other fun facts about him in a second. But Adrian, so what's your thoughts about this promo?
I mean, just about him. That was one of my uncle's favorite wrestlers. I do remember that as a kid,
Okay.
and he would always talk about. He would always talk about him. He would always talk about him. He would always talk about Dusty. And I've talked about in the past how my entire family loved Thunderbolt. So
Hmm.
all of those guys definitely played a major role in me becoming a pro wrestling fan. With that promo, a couple things stand out. He just gives the energy of a grizzled vet, you know, like a tough, imposing guy. Like, even though you have this mask on, and in most social norms or whatever, that would be goofy or weird. But you're not saying that to that guy. You're not saying it. Like, he sounds and looks like he would punch you in the face. And that's what I loved about that era of pro wrestling. That's what I love about when that happens in today's pro wrestling. I love that. When you can look at the guy and say, hey, that guy may be an issue, or he's actually intimidating. It's not about the entertaining aspect of it, or this guy's fun, or my kids are gonna love this guy. No, this guy will put hands to you. And that's what I loved about pro wrestling. That's what got me into it as a kid, was the fact that these guys were like really beating each other up, and he definitely embodied that. So he's definitely a legend, like you said, Greg. Down in these parts, legend, absolute legend.
For sure. What's interesting about that promo to me is how he started out so calm,
Mm-hmm.
and then they kind of talk about Harley Race a little bit. He starts to get a little bit louder. He starts to get that passion, and then he talks about the $10,000 bounty, which I don't know the backstory on that one, but it was like now I'm in. Austin, you just tried to take me out, and now I'm in tomorrow night at the Omni, and that was, every Saturday. That Saturday night was always hyping up Sunday at the Omni. But
And I always loved the script at the bottom showing the address of the Omni. Like, that always pops me, like, to this day.
For sure. What's crazy about two is he wore the mask to the arena, at the arena, in the locker room, and home.
Man, true
Kept
to
the kayfabe, man.
I remember talking to a few different wrestlers that later on, even and he would be on their cards. They said no, he never took it off.
Nice.
I remember talking to Bob Armstrong one time. He said, "I don't know what the dude looks like because I have no idea what he looks like. I've known him for 30 years. I don't know what he looks like." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I have no clue," because that's what he was. He wore it all the time. They lived the gimmick.
That's cool. That's really cool. That's like Mexican style.
And that's what I was going to say. The parallel between that and what we know of lucha libre culture, like that's on brand. That's actually pretty cool to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, in the age of the internet, I'm sure you can figure out anybody's name, but like on record, no, you just don't.
No, now his name was Johnny Walker, which is hilarious. A liquor,
Nice,
but
nice.
I mean, but I do know that, and that's one guy I really wish I had met because I know his later years he spent, I think, in Hawaii, He did very limited appearances, and but because the other thing about the mask is so to me, Wrestling 2 is kind of like Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson was 40 years old forever.
Right.
Like he was 22 and he looked 40, and he was
Right. That's a
55 and he looked
fact.
40, right?
That's a fact.
But he looked tough, right? The body didn't change.
Mhm.
That was Wrestling 2. Like he just looked like that tough, like you said, grizzled,
Mhm.
cornbread fed
Mm-hmm.
badass. And that's just how he came across. And even later in the years, because he has the mask, he doesn't age, right? You
Yeah.
don't
That's a
see
good
that.
point. Yep, that's
And so
it. Yeah.
when he would make personal appearances, I remember seeing pictures of him, and I think he's like in his 70s. So if I have a friend who took a picture with him.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, looks the same. He's like, well, he has a mask on. I'm like, I know, but still, it's like, there's just something about it. So that mystique is pretty cool about it. All right, so let's jump over to another one. This one, another one that has a storied history, and his stick man, you may recognize this person's stick.
By the likes of this individual, mammoth in proportion, tremendous agility, quite the aggressor indeed. The World Wrestling Federation has never quite had a number one contender like you, Masked Superstar.
Well, I recognize that fact. As one of individuals said, how did you choose the name Superstar? I told you, I never chose that name. The fans did. They saw my ability in the ring. I walked out of the ring and they say, you truly are a superstar. You're going to be a champion. And they're right. You know, I've waited a long, long time, Mr. Backlund. I'm directing this to you. No beating around the bush. No bones about it. You've got something I want. That's that championship belt. I detect skepticism. I detect doubt. Perhaps for the first time in your professional career, you realize that you also can be defeated. You can lose the belt, the prestige, and the money. Be knocked off the ladder. Go back down. You're a good champion, Backlund. I'm not taking away from you. You've defeated a lot of very, very good individuals. Some of my friends. Every one of them I went, quizzed them, questioned them, picked their brains. I've got counters for everything you can throw at me. I've got moves you never saw. I've got desire. I've got the hunger. You've got the belt. And I'm coming after it. Right in the big one. Madison Square Garden. I have no intentions, none whatsoever, of going into that great building, going into that ring, and coming out defeated. Bob Backlund, take it to the bank. I'm coming after your championship belt, and I want it.
I knew I recognized that voice. I was like, I know that voice, man. That's awesome.
So interesting. I chose that one because the Masked Superstar and Wrestling 2 were huge rivals. But I chose that one because that's Superstar in Madison Square Garden in WWF, not down here where he was
Right.
comfortable. And his promo style down here was much more passionate. That was passion, in my opinion, but it was different because there was such a feud. It was like that Kevin Owens, Sammy type of a feud. Like they just always they would split apart and then come back together. Mask versus mask type things. They were unmasking each other. I remember Masked Superstar taking off Wrestling 2's his hood one time, and the referee took his shirt off and threw it over his head. And everybody's like, "Oh my god!" You know, nobody wanted to see what he looked like, right? It was pretty interesting. So, Adrian, your thoughts?
Well, first, like you said, he's very stoic. That promo in particular, very stoic, focused on the task at hand. It's pretty cool seeing a challenger of Bob Backlund back then compared to the Bob Backlund that we grew up on. Like it's completely different. So it is pretty cool to see that. And I haven't seen what was that Grand Wizard? I haven't seen him in forever. So it was pretty cool seeing him in the back, just just looking goofy or whatnot. So yeah, man, that's an era of WWF that I'm not too familiar with. Like '83, that's before I was born. But I enjoyed that promo. I enjoyed the promo. It did the job, and I enjoyed the fact that that's Axe. Like
Yeah,
that's a completely
Demolition.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
Hmm.
completely different character and completely different whole demeanor that what I'm used to. What Because when you started playing, I'm like, hold on, I know that voice. I know that voice. So it's pretty cool seeing those guys like past lives, you know?
Hmm. Idly, your thoughts?
kind of going off on that. It's like I'm like, oh, that's Demolition. That's um, but that's cool. That's like crazy reinvention because, like I said, I wouldn't have known that his character, in Georgia was a little bit more outlandish, or a little, to borrow your word, more passionate.
Mm,
Because I think this promo is great. Like I'm listening in. I'm like literally like kind of leaning in to see what he has because I'm expecting. Okay, when is he going to start yelling? When is he going to start? And it's like a very Jake the Snaky type promo. Like, and I'm
mm,
gonna get he names the championship. He names his opponent. He names the venue. He has reverence for the venue, right? He says, "This,
Hmm.
this is MSG. Like, I'm not gonna walk out here with the championship." So he really makes you listen to him, which I don't know. I think about when I became a fan of wrestling and kind of dipped out for a little bit, but you go later and Demolition is, they're more cartoonish. They're
right.
still, they're real badasses and everything, but they feel more of a cast. Whereas here, Mass Superstar feels like, this guy's like a main eventer. This guy's
Mm,
in it. And it's cool because I don't think I'd ever seen that side of him like that.
He's massive too.
oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is, I'm watching that, and I watched it a few times, but obviously before I showed it to you guys, and I'm like, he's got to be standing on something because there's no way he's that much bigger than Vince. That's the only thing I can think of because Vince ain't small.
No, not at all.
But the other thing that stood out to me is, you put managers with wrestlers because they can't talk,
Mm,
and we heard nothing from the Wizard,
Yeah.
that's a
not a
good point.
word,
That's a
which
good
is
point.
very unusual. Even if a wrestler can talk, normally they say something. In that case, not a word. I thought that was interesting, and I also think that we we've talked about the stick man here recently, and seeing Vince as that stick man, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I think this is before he bought the company, so he's
Mm,
probably just playing that role,
Mm,
mm.
but definitely different than Gordon, right?
Oh yeah.
He
right.
doesn't have to fill in too much, probably a little bit more produced, but I just thought that was a cool promo. I thought, man, just like you said, watching that, like this is Axe, and then of course. I mean, I don't remember none of that type of stuff either, right?
Mm-hmm.
At
Mm-hmm.
all. I do remember that Two and Superstar had a bunch of feuds, and then Superstar and Tommy Rich had a bunch of feuds,
Yeah.
but
Mm. Great Tommy
bloody
Rich.
feuds too, and that's which is interesting because they used to bleed through the masks,
Mm.
Right.
and they would cut
Right.
them,
Right.
like the mask would get cut.
I'm gonna have to
So
go back and look at some of his stuff from when he was down in Georgia, because
yeah,
like that was my first time ever even hearing that. So
yeah, he's a bad dude. So the other thing is a lot of Memphis stuff,
okay,
a lot of things he did with Lawler,
yeah,
things like
Mhm.
that. Pretty interesting. And I think that's one of the things like Bill Eadie doesn't get the credit he deserves
mm,
Yeah.
because yeah, we know him as Axe. Even as Axe, I mean, he was easily the leader and the glue on that team, right?
100%.
And just think about what that team was,
Mm,
right? And it's just like should be in the Hall of Fame. There's no reason that they're not. I mean, there is legal stuff, but beyond that,
yeah,
pure ability. And in all honesty, he should probably be a double Hall of Famer for Mass Superstar and for Demolition. He was that good.
that's the truth.
So, all right. Before I move on too much, thinking about those two characters, and they're not Lucha. Why do you think we don't see characters like that today? We don't see guys under masks like that. We don't see Americans that aren't Lucha type. Um, Grande Americano. But beyond that, we but even with that, that's kind of the takeoff on the lucha thing. We
Right.
don't see these big dudes. Like the last one I can think of is the Patriot.
Mm,
Why do you think we don't see that anymore?
Well, I will say, what's his name? Kill Switch or Luchasaurus is one of the more
Okay.
recent big men or American wrestlers that
Mm-hmm.
wear a mask. I the only reason or my only thought process as to why guys aren't wrestling in masks is still going back to kind of one of those things that Vince kind of imposed on American wrestling, which is when he got a luchador,
Yep.
take the mask off. Because we want you to see your face. 9 times out of 10, this is a nice, attractive guy. All that kind of stuff.
Andrade.
And right, exactly. Like I think that's really the main thing. It's just been one of those things where, like it or not, wrestling fans, Vince has his fingerprints on the industry
Hmm.
after decades and decades of dominance. And one of those things that influence was the fact that we don't get that many like wrestlers with the mask. I think it's something that's a missed marketing opportunity for a lot of guys. I think some of these bigger wrestlers, like there was what's my guy's name? The AEW wrestler that was a part of Dark Order, the bigger dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, Preston Vance.
That's it. He
Right.
had a mask and he was getting over,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was a missed opportunity with the decision to have him wrestle without a mask, because once he's wrestling without a mask, he's kind of fitting in with everyone else.
Right.
Whereas the mask kind of made him unique to you got this big dude with a mask. Like, I think that's a missed opportunity, at least a marketing, because if I'm a wrestler and I can wrestle with a mask, I know that down the line, that's merchandise. Kids love wearing masks.
100%.
Kids
Hmm.
love wearing masks. Grown men like us, we love wearing masks if we go to a wrestling show. So I don't know. That, at least that's my opinion as to why we're not seeing that many mask wrestlers,
Yeah.
at least Americans.
You made a point there, and look at the promos that Greg brought. Right. He brought promos that, at their core, the genesis of these wrestlers are not on a national stage. They're at a regional stage, right? It's more specifically to Georgia. That by the time they do get to a WWF, they're established characters. If he wants to, eventually, obviously, he did take off the mask.
Mm-hmm.
That is definitely, I think, the prevailing reason why you don't see that those masked just wrestlers. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You have some exceptions with the face paint, right? So you have like a Mystery Iguana, you have like a Danhausen, right? But as far as a big Haas guy, I don't see it. But I think on also secondary piece that's a little more modern, but connected to the old school, especially in Mexico, you don't just get a mask in
Right.
Mexico.
That's true.
It's either passed on to you or something that you create as your own character. Pentagon is an evolution of Octagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ray Phoenix is an original creation, but something that he's evolved and he's messed with the mask. And even Rey Mysterio wasn't Rey Mysterio. He was Colibri when he started, right?
Mm.
IP is a big thing, even though people say like, oh, Mexico, whatever. Like there's still something to be said about that, because when you fast forward to WWE, when is the last time they put their money behind a masked wrestler that wasn't Rey Mysterio? It was Mystico, right? Or what we came to know him now is, and he's had a million different names now,
Mm-hmm.
but they wanted to capitalize on the mask. They wanted the
Absolutely.
merchandising. They wanted it. It didn't work out, and now Mystico's in a better place, and
Right.
it is what it is. I think there's a space for that, but I also kind of lean into that idea of just showing your face and be able to emote is still kind of a preferred way if you don't know how to work under a mask,
Mm.
because a generico knew how to work under a mask. Yeah, he wasn't, of that culture and came up with that, but he knew how to work it. And he's
Right.
a great pro wrestler. That's the bottom line, right?
Right. Right.
And in a promo, Mysterio never really needed it after a point. I mean, he wasn't the strongest promo either, but kayfabe's dead. Like Mysterio's going into airports without a mask and taking pictures with fans. So it's
Right.
kind of, it's besides the point by now, but To kind of answer that question, Greg, I think it can happen. I don't know if who it would be. Someone who could live with the mask, for a considerable time, because we mentioned, or Luchasaurus or Kill Switch. Now, you also had Kill Shot, right? You had a Swerve in there who was under the hood, but that was partially because he was in a very particular situation with Lucha Underground.
Right.
I think it can I think it can work. Like you think about
Mm-hmm.
some of these guys who come in. Think about a Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
I mean, if he
Yeah.
just had a mask on, or I mean, I thought that was a kind of a genius thing.
Mm-hmm.
Buff when he was first coming up wore a mask.
Yep.
He was in Global. And he was the handsome stranger, and he wore a mask, not a full face mask, kind of Aldo Montoya type, if I remember correctly. But that type of thing where it's like, I'm too good looking for you, or some type of, even the Kane type of thing, like I have a messed up face, like put it into your character,
Yeah,
right?
for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
To where you're not going to take this off because it's going to be offensive. I'm not going to let that happen. And you can play into it later on, or you could just be like, I don't want you to know who I am. I mean,
Right.
you think about it, like the $1 Million Man type of a character. I have so much money. I'm in demand. You can't know who I am. That type of a character. I think it would work
Definitely.
if you really invested in it. But you got to stay with it. Like you got to be Undertaker. You got to stay with it for 20 years. Like stay under that
Yeah.
mask.
Or like with Cody. Remember when Cody had the face mask? It was more like the story behind
Yeah.
it, and it was it served a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but it evolved into a gimmick where it was like, they've ruined my beautiful face, and you can't see, like they didn't really go all in on that because of where he was on the card or whatnot. But that's one of those missed marketing opportunities. I'm pretty sure people would have been buying little cheap
For sure.
plastic
You
masks
remember
and
they
stuff.
did it again. They recycled that with Carmella.
Oh yeah.
Good point. Yep.
And I thought that was genius. Like the way she did hers, being all bedazzled up. That was pretty cool.
I'll give you someone who's modern. Who, I mean, they're not on your national TV per se, but it's an MLW wrestler, part of the Contra unit. Mads Kruger. So he comes out real scary. I thought it was Luke Gallows for the longest time because they have like the same body type. And yeah, you see that dude in person, and it's like, oh, dang, yeah, like you're working the gimmick, bro. Like you're not a little dude.
No, not at all.
All right, I do have a couple more to bring to you. Let's see here. This is one of the ones we've talked about in the past. There was probably the promo, but he's one that originally talked me into the building.
Nice.
Jimmy Valiant, you finally mustered up the courage to take your fist, to get in that ring against me. You know, I've got nicknames for my right hand. This is Cannibal, and this is Animal. And you know what they tell me every day? They tell me that they're hungry, and I tell them, be patient, because I'm going to feed you. And what I'm going to feed you is a banquet of Jimmy Valiant's face, his eyes, his nose, his lips. These hands are going to be twice their size when that tape fist match is over, Valiant, because they're going to gorge themselves on your face and on your flesh. I've never in my life ever hated a man like I hate you, Valiant. And you better believe one thing. When I get you down, Valiant, you ain't never, and I said never, gonna get up again.
The Masked Superstar, Jody Hamilton. If you don't know, the Masked Superstar, not Masked Superstar, Masked Assassin, Jody Hamilton. The Assassins were a bad tag team back in the day. They were one of the ones that turned against Dusty in the cage with Ole. Another one that feuded with Wrestling 2 over the masks and everything. But that promo right there, what did you think about that one?
In the words of Big E, sometimes you don't need no 5-star classic. You don't need a 15-minute promo. You just want to see some big meaty men That's it. It's just going for it, right? And this is who this is, right? Down to the fact that it reminds me later, later years. Remember reading some kind of decline or the fall of WCW book, and he won a trainer for the power plant or something at some point down the line, right? So look, this dude's jacked. I mean, he's telling you he's gonna pummel you. He's gonna gorge on you with his fist. And that's really all I need. I mean, I don't need everybody to give me a soliloquy here. Sometimes I just want to see someone beat ass. That's it.
That's it. Well
So
said.
for me, that's really cool.
Yeah, Adrian, Masked Assassin. What do you remember or know about him, and what do you think about that promo?
I do remember the tag team, and I do remember he's an example of grizzled. I'm not gonna mess with that man.
100%.
I'm not gonna. If I boo him, it's because he's turned around and he doesn't see me.
100%.
Like, I definitely remember that as a child. That promo in particular, that was money, man. That was money, and I hate to sound like the old person or the old man staring at the clouds about complaining about today's wrestling, but that's something that we're missing. That kind of intensity,
this is facts, man.
the simplicity of violence. Like, he talked you into the building based on what he planned on doing to Jimmy. That simple as that. Is no big show, is no people chanting or singing and all of this. We're not having fun. We're excited to see what violence this man is creating in his head. The man just finished having a quick conversation with two inanimate objects, for Christ's sake. Hey, that was a beautiful promo, and I wish I would see more of that in today's product, because
that's
that
what I like
shit was
about
beautiful.
that. I love that promo and the fact that it translates to today. But here's how it translated to me. It doesn't matter if you're a babyface or not, or a heel. And in all honesty, you he's a heel because he has a manager.
Right.
Beyond that, it could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
You can see Dusty saying the same thing. You can see Cody saying the same thing today.
Mm-hmm.
You can see Roman saying the same thing, and you could be on either side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I hate you. Like, take that same promo, put it in Roman today talking about Seth.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Owens.
Or
that's
Kevin Owens.
That's a Kevin Owens promo.
For sure.
That's a Kevin Owens.
Any of these ones where they're just talking about who they hate somebody. It's like,
yeah.
To me, that's one of that promo too was one of the best ones. I mean, it's definitely. And what's wild about Jody is, how WWE always has the gorilla position, and now everybody calls it the gorilla position. But if you don't know, WCW did not have a gorilla position.
Makes sense, yeah.
They had a Jody position.
That's
and they called it the Jody position because Jody Hamilton was the one running all of that, and Jody Hamilton being the masked assassin.
Oh, that's awesome!
Interesting. Wow, cool fact.
Yeah,
like
pretty
that.
Cool. All right, I got one more for y'all. I'm sorry, I got two more. I'm sorry, I know we got to do it, but this next one, I can't put my finger on it. He reminds me of somebody as well. Like, we talked about Axe, so I might need you guys to help me a little bit with it. But he's a damn good talker though. He's really good at talking, and definitely had me confused. He just happened to pop up on the timeline when I was doing this. Like, man, who is this dude right here?
And it's very obvious with Barry Windham now. It becomes more than a match. It becomes Barry Windham coming to take off that mask.
Mr. Shabana, in Diablo Canyon, Colorado, I don't get an opportunity to stand in front of a camera, so I might be just a little bit awkward. My main man, Dusty Rhodes, got a heavy heart. I came here in vengeance. I came here in violence. I came here to draw the innermost repentance for majesty. And Dusty Rhodes, and I find a world of war. And war now has the battle lines drawn. So I'm here for the summer, the long, hot summer, until my man Dusty Rhodes gets back, and I feel a little bit of what he feels looking in the eyes of one Barry Windham on the streets of Florida, in the crib in Texas. Dusty Rhodes raised Barry Windham. Your soul, your heart, your moves, your attitude was drilled from day one by Dusty Rhodes. Barry Windham, let me tell you something. Take a note. I'm asking you one time, sow your wild seeds, if you will. Be an outlaw, if you will. But don't take the husband's pet in life. Lex Luger, the Road Warriors, Sting, and 300 vicious, violent pounds are going to be down on you. And believe me, Barry, I don't want to do it, but don't, by God, push me into it.
Again, I can't
Legend.
quite put my finger on who he sounds like, but
I don't know.
Ali, the Midnight Rider. I mean, the passion, everything about him. He cuts a heck of a promo. I mean, like
He
he's
really
top
does.
5 promo styles, man. What you think about the Midnight Rider?
It's it's through and through. It's such a seasoned pro at that point that he's just having fun, right? He's going for it. He's just trying stuff. It is a little jarring, I'm not gonna lie. The way he has this mask, it really looks like a young Cody. I mean, it's a little bit kind of, I'm taken aback just by even the cadence a little bit. I think it's really cool. I think it's someone that could easily rest on your laurels and be like, this is who I am, and clearly someone that was trying to challenge themselves. But here, specifically, just treating it as as a particular promo, it works. I don't have a sense of the character necessarily straight up from this promo. I just know that he's gonna avenge Dusty in some way, or he's gonna continue until he comes back, and we're gonna get some hot feuds. He restates the other pro wrestlers, and he comes out swinging. So without the believability that it's just Dusty under the hood, but I think it's pretty cool that even back in that era, it's something that you could still stand to prove yourself. Down the line, you'd have both of his sons have to take on characters to prove themselves, or not even to prove themselves, just to stay relevant, and had to overcome that. Here, bring me back, and maybe you can fill in the blanks for me, Greg. Is this something that was done out of kind of, he talks about the summer, right? Like this is going to be a summer piece. Was this something that was done out of a necessity or out of storyline, or was it something that he was just kind of having fun with?
Storyline wise, Dusty lost to loser leave town type of thing.
Got it.
So Dusty had to leave the territory.
Okay.
So since he left,
Mm-hmm.
the Midnight Rider came in.
Right.
It's not Dusty. It's the
No,
Midnight
it's not.
Rider.
No.
And what's interesting about that is that has been recycled so many times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Including WWF.
Yep.
Exactly.
With the Giant Machine and the Hulk Machine, but mainly with the Giant Machine. But they had the whole machines and all of that. And so it's just kind of crazy to sit back and think, here's another Dusty creation that's been recycled multiple times.
It's true.
Ahead of his time, man.
Yeah.
Way ahead of his time.
Adrian, were you familiar with the Midnight Rider character?
Somewhat. Yeah, I definitely remember it. I remember the promos for sure, in particular, because loving Dusty, I was definitely entrenched with Midnight Rider. You bring up a very good point about this is one of those cool ideas or creations where a very popular star, or a somewhat popular star, I mean, Dusty was a very popular star, make no mistake about it. They go into an angle where he has to go away for a little bit, but to keep him in the mix, to keep him at the position that he's in, they put a mask on him. And it's blatantly clear that this is Dusty, right? Same. It's been done. It's being done right now. Like prior to now, of course, Mr. America with Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was this is clearly to the point where he's doing the poses and everything. Like it's clearly there, and it's funny, but it's an intriguing story, you know. Till now with Grande Americano, that's it's it's clearly this superstar, but we're gonna we're gonna play kayfabe right now. And it's not to insult the audience as much as have fun with the audience. So that's a nice, for me, it's refreshing to see a balance within pro wrestling where some of this stuff could be brutal and vicious and all this, but there are some things that can be funny. Like there is a spot for a comedy or an element of funny, and we've talked about that before. And that's one of those things where it's like we know Dusty's supposed to be gone, and we clearly know it's him, but we're gonna enjoy it. We're gonna play kayfabe right now, and that's a great example of it. And it's cool to see them still taking elements of that in today's wrestling. Like with that Grande Americano, it's a whole nother level now that unfortunately Chad got hurt. Now it's Ludwig, and it's clearly Ludwig, and it's gotten even more. Yeah, exactly, and it's going even more crazy. So, I mean, it's a cool, refreshing take.
One thing I got out of this promo is, we having fun with it being a masked wrestler and Midnight Rider, whatever. It's a hell of a promo.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, the passion, the way he brought it. Talking about going into the summer with with Magnum, the Road Warriors and Sting and all of that with the Horsemen, and it's just like the passion because there's the Dusty raised you, Barry. Dusty taught you the moves. Dusty did this, and it's like, and then you just feel that whole different type of passion. I was like, you know what? If you did remove that mask, and that was just Dusty talking, that'd be one of his top
promo.
5,
Yeah,
top 10
that's a
promos.
cooking promo. Yeah,
like it was that good.
Yeah.
It was truly that good, in my opinion. It was just like, man, that would talk me into the building.
Absolutely.
Now this next one, this is my final one. I promise. I know I brought a lot tonight. This next one, if it doesn't talk you into the building, we got to sit down and talk. We got to have a round table to talk about what is wrong with your fandom. I mean, that's truly the issue. And I'm not talking to just y'all too. I'm talking to everybody who's watching right now. When you see this promo, we saw some good ones, right? We've seen Wrestling 2, legend. We've seen The Masked Superstar, legend. We've seen The Assassin, legend. Midnight Rider / Dusty, legend. This one tops them all.
Well, I'm not really sure. This is either Monster number 1 or Super Destroyer number 2. What would you like to be known as? I'll give him one of these, and I'll give him one of those. I'll give him one of those, and I'll choke him like this. All right, I'll choke him like this. I'll give him. Oh yeah. I believe you. But we got to know who are you? Who are you actually? Who are you? Okay, I understand. Hey, Sinister, come on in here. I think we need a little interpretation. Who or what is it? All right, I'll give you interpretation, because that's what they do. He gives them one of these, and he gives them one of those. You know who he gives it to? He gives it to Bruiser. Give him one, Daddy. Give him one. That's right. Hey. Hey, look at this guy.
I had to give y'all that one.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
That's insane.
It's like some honeymooner stuff, bro. It's like,
right.
And the thing is, man, I was dying. I was dying. Adrian, did it talk you into the building?
Oh, that definitely talked me into the building. Maybe a psychiatric ward, but it talked me into the building. It definitely did. It definitely did. That was fun. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
Out of
I
league.
enjoyed the knee.
That's hilarious, man. I love it. I love when we so often in the IWC we take wrestling too seriously, and it's like let's just let's take a step back and look, we're playing pretend here. That's all we're doing here. Let's just have fun with it.
And I'm watching that one right after Midnight Rider. I'm like, if you put a hood on Otis,
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
That's him right
definitely
there.
him. That's definitely him. That's definitely him.
Oh man. Just have
But-
him come out with Gable again.
and give
He's
him
the
one of these and give him
third
one of those.
Americano.
Right.
Give him one of these and give him one of those.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully y'all had a fun trip down this masked wrestler lane. A little bit different than probably what you expected when I talked about doing masked wrestlers tonight. But I wanted to stay away from the Lucha Libre. I know we want to go down that path one day. But I wanted to have a little bit of fun with it, kind of go old school, talk about some, different types and just have some fun, right? And see some old school promos that would work today.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of relive some of that. And I like to take y'all down the nostalgia road. But thank you guys for watching. As always, please like, subscribe, hit us up in the comments. Tell us some of your favorite masked wrestlers. I mean, we had a bunch of them. One that I left off that I really wish that I grew up loving was Bullet Bob Armstrong, the Road Dogg's dad. As Bob Armstrong, he was huge. That dude put on a mask, and it's the same type of thing as Midnight Rider. In Alabama, he put on a mask because Bob had to leave the territory, and he became a bigger star with a mask on. Everybody knew who he was. Then he came back without the mask, and he was like, eh. And then he put the mask back on. People lose their mind again. It was crazy.
Nice.
And the mask does something, and I think that's a lost art today. So I love watching these guys. I love the lucha style. I love Penta. I love Phoenix and everybody else. But I would love to see some of these guys come back. This type of character, these big boys with the mask and a little bit of mysterious persona to them. But anyway, like, subscribe. Hopefully you guys had fun. For Ida Lee, for Adrian, I'm Greg. This is Talk 'em Into the Building, intothebuilding.com, and we'll see you guys on the flip side.